What is up, YouTube? I am Eric and you are watching Retro Video Game Pickups. In this video, we are talking about Nintendo 64 games you should be on the lookout for. So if you like games, consoles, or product reviews, please consider subscribing and hitting that bell notification. With that being said, let's hop into it. Okay, so over here I have a stack of Nintendo 64 games, about 6 games I think you should definitely be on the lookout for. Now, I am a collector, but I also love playing the games, and I also like flipping games and reselling them in order to fund my game collection. So in this video, I'm going to talk about some games you should definitely keep an eye out for on the Nintendo 64 if you are wanting to, 1, collect them, 2, play them, or 3, resell them. Now, I'll talk about each game a little bit, and we will go, I will pull up price charting and show you guys about the average of what that's selling for. Now, if you're gonna sell these games, don't just go to price charting, go to wherever you're selling it and looking at the sold listings. So go to Mercari and flip that filter over to sold, go to eBay, and see what has sold as well. And anything else, if you're going to sell it on Facebook Marketplace, it might be harder, but you can use those other places and avenues to sell things at to figure out how much you're going to actually spend on those games in order to flip them if you're going to do that. So here we've got the first game here, and that is Starfox 64. So what I'm going to do right here is apparently drop my cell phone. So what I'm going to do is pick that up and we'll be right back. Okay, so I have retrieved my cell phone from the ground. We've got Starfox 64 here, and what I'll do is I'll post the picture of the screenshot of actually how much it costs on price charting, or at least the price on price charting. So Starfox 64, let's go ahead and check that out for the Nintendo 64, and this loose is going for $17.81. So let's say $18 or $42 if you're going to round up, if you're going to get a boxed copy. So what does that mean? That means this game, which was actually pretty well made, there was a ton of them released, is going for about $18 right now. So what does that mean? This is, first off, Starfox 64 is a very fun game. It's an awesome game. It's a shooter. If you've never played it, you definitely should add it to your collection. But if you see this at a thrift store or at a flea market or online or wherever you're finding games, if you see this for about $12 or less, I would pick it up. Honestly, selling this for $18, if I was going to sell this on Mercari at $18, knock it down after fees, we're looking at about $15. So if I could pick this up for 10 bucks and get $5 out of it, it'd be well worth it. But however, if you can find games like this for well below that price, I've seen 64 games for $3, $4, $5. If you could pick this up for $5, you're tripling your money, and that's how you can grow your collection more. So that is the first game, is Starfox 64, $18 at the current time of videoing this, or $42 if it's complete. The next game we're going to talk about is another one that was on the system, and I love this game. I played this when it came out because it actually was the pack-in game with my system, and that was the Jungle Green, Atomic Green Nintendo 64, and that is Donkey Kong 64. So what we're going to do is yet again pull out my cell phone. I'm going to check it out and see how much this is. Hopefully it is a good price. Donkey Kong 64, go down to Nintendo 64, $28 if you round up. It's $27.54, but that's a good deal. That's $28 for a game that you could pick up for $5. Like I said, these games are going to be games that are good value that you can find in the wild and even go online and pick them up and maybe flip them if you want to do it that way. But Donkey Kong 64, this is such a fun game. I love this. It was one of those games that really, for me, took it into that 3D world. Now, Super Mario 64 is a great game. We're not talking bad about this, but when I was younger, this was the first game I played on the system because it came with it. So that is why I have so much fond memories of this. Now, we're going to talk about Super Smash Brothers. Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64. This is where it all started, and I wanted to talk about that a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my cell phone here, and we're going to check it out. So go ahead and Super Smash, sometimes I can't spell, 64. Let's go scroll down to the Nintendo 64. Where is it? Nintendo 64 Player's Choice. No, that's not the one I want. Let's just find the original, like, I guess the Player's Choice is gonna be the one. Oh, nope, there it is. Okay, Super Smash Brothers on the Nintendo 64 is currently $39.30. $39 for this game. Now, yes, if I listed this on Mercari, I would say $40, and then after fees, it would be knocked down to $35. But if you can find this game, even if you found this game for $25, that's $10 that you could make off of this. So, is Super Smash Brothers an awesome game? Yes, it is, but I wanted to bring this up because it's an expensive game, and some people see this as a game that everyone knows about, and so they don't think the value is that high. This is a $40 game. Maybe you could find it for $30 and sell it for $40. Even if you weren't going to sell it and you wanted to keep it at $30, that's still a great deal. Now, this next one we're talking about, the cartridge is a joke, but the actual board in it is real, and that is Mario Kart 64. Now, forever ago, 2 or 3 years ago, I got this with a bundle, and I knew that it was going to be a joke. I thought it was going to be completely fake, and it turned out to be an actual real board in it. So I had to keep this. Like, it's so garbage on the label that I thought it was funny. It never came out on a black cartridge either, so I thought it was great. It was a real board, and I thought, might as well keep this and sell the one I have because this is very funny. Now, what we're going to do is look that up. Again, here we are. We're talking about Mario Kart 64. Let's do this. Mario Kart 64. $36.52. That's a good deal. Yet again, this is a great game. Everyone knows that Mario Kart 64 is a fun game to play. If you don't have this added to your collection, $36 is a lot for a Nintendo 64 game, but if you can go out in the thrift stores, in the trenches, on the pawn shops, all that, you're gonna find this game for cheaper than that. So that's why this is going to be added to the collection if you don't have it already, and if you do, flip that baby. Make some money for yourself. Now, when I sell stuff, I oftentimes don't sell it for full retail price, or at least what price charting says. So that one said 37. Maybe I listed it 34 to 35, just depending on how the market was. But I've got that next game, and this, I'm just gonna kind of talk about one of these, and that's Mario Party. These games can be worth quite a bit. I have seen bundles with all three for over $100. So what are we gonna do? We're gonna type in Mario Party, and I'm just gonna do it with this one. I'm not gonna talk about the other two, just because it falls in line with all three of them. This one, Mario Party, the original, is $35.29 at the time of this video. So that is another great game. If you had a 64 when you were younger, you knew your hands hurt from this game. The palms of your hands trying to get this game going, just, you know what I'm talking about if you had this as a kid. But this is a great game, and I think this is one that needs to be talked about. This is often overlooked. These are all three great games, whether it's 1, 2, or 3. I just happened to pick up the first one. I know some of the other ones, like 2 and 3, are actually worth more. So check those out. Check those prices out, because if you see this game, maybe for 30 bucks, you might want to pass on it. But if you see all three of them for 30 bucks each, it might be well worth it for you. So check this out. Mario Party is a great game, first off, but also it's well worth flipping if you're into that, or if you want to know how much these games are in order to add them to your collection. That's a good deal. 35 bucks is quite expensive. Now, we're gonna stop and I did one Zelda. I didn't talk about both of them. And this one is a janky cartridge because that's how I got it. I've had a few other ones, but I just passed on them and just kept this janky one. This is the gold one, but it is taped together because whoever did it broke the clips on the bottom and there's a screw missing. Like, come on, what are you doing to these cartridges that happened? So it's taped together, very minimal tape, so it works, everything like that. It just looks like garbage, and that's why I kept this one. I mean, I don't mind as long as it plays, and as you saw with that Mario Kart 64, the funnier ones, the weirder ones, I tend to keep. So what we're gonna do is talk about that. This is Majora's Mask, so I'm gonna go Zelda Majora's Mask, just to see what that is actually pricing at on price charting. $45.78. $45 for this game. That is quite incredible if you think about it. Now in this day and age, Nintendo 64 games, some of them are cheap, some of them are ridiculously expensive. This one's one of those that's ridiculously expensive. However, I want you to know, you can find these games all over the place. Look for bundles. Sometimes I'll find a bundle with the Nintendo 64 and like 4 games for like $100, but if it's got 3 games that are worth $40 each, that's $120 plus, like, let's just say $50 on the system. It's $170 if you were to sell it. That's a lot of money that you could be adding to your collection. Now, I realized when I was doing this, I couldn't find one game, but I know why. I talked about this game a little bit, and that is because it's a game that you have to have in your system if you have a Nintendo 64. Super Mario 64. I knew it was somewhere in this room, and I just realized it was over there on the table while we're recording this, so I want to talk about that as well. This is a great game, and everyone has this for their system. So I feel like if you're going to look for a game for a Nintendo 64, this has got to be it. So I pulled it up. Super Mario 64, $34. That is another game that is totally well worth it. So I started this off with some cheaper games. And I say some cheaper games. Now I'm looking back over here at the stack and I'm gonna grab it. And all of these are somewhat expensive if you think about it. Starfox, okay, $18. Donkey Kong Country, not Country, 64, $32 or $34, something like that. Smash was like 40, Mario Kart was 35, Mario Party was 35, Super Mario 64 was 35, and Zelda Majora's Mask was 45. So you're talking about quite a chunk of change if you had to buy all of these games right now. Now, I've picked these games up over the years, and I've not spent that much money on these, to be honest. I picked them up in bundles and all that, and so I wanted to talk about all of those games that you should be on the lookout for. So if you are perusing Goodwill, the thrift store, the pawn shop, or right now if you're stuck at home and you can't go out, check out bundles online, whether it's Mercari, eBay, maybe Facebook Marketplace, any of those places that you can find games, check them out. Now, I look for bundles for Nintendo 64 systems all the time because I find those bundles often have games that are well worth buying the bundle for. So maybe you'll find a Nintendo 64 lot with like 5 games, and one of them's Mario Party 3, and maybe one of them's, let's say, Super Mario 64, and then you got Zelda Ocarina of Time. That's your money back if it's $100. Then you got the system, then you got the other games. You could sell that system with the other games and make quite a lot of money. So I want to let you guys know, in this day and age, yes, these games are expensive, but you can definitely make your money back, or you can definitely save a lot of money when you're looking for these games. So that is why I decided to make this video. The Nintendo 64 is a console that I love. I enjoy it. There's so many great games on it, and I wanted to talk about these 7 games that I think you should be on the lookout for. So if you like this video, or you have any other games that I need to be talking about, comment down below. Now, I know there's some really high priced games here on the Nintendo 64, But I wanted to talk about games that you would see in the wild, but games that were made and everyone enjoys or knows about them. So with that being said, one last time, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you hit that bell notification. That way you know when I post more videos, which is every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. Also, I want to say thank you so much for watching. It means so much to me. And one more thing, make sure you have a good day.